Greetings viewers, if you click the video link, you're here to learn how to change the front sight on your Smith & Wesson TRR8 or R8. So originally I was under the assumption that with this roll pin here, like all the other Smith & Wesson revolver sights, you were supposed to punch this pin out, get the new sight, you had to line it up, you had to drill it, put the roll pin back in. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Nick Zabo2727 who commented on my review of this pistol here and said that the front sight is spring loaded, which didn't really make much sense. But I started messing with it and I kind of figured it out. Everything that I found online said otherwise about changing the Smith & Wesson revolver sight, so that was extremely helpful. So thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate it. So now I can share the knowledge with everybody else. And I managed to find a good replacement sight here. So we're looking at the High-Vis Shooting Systems Lightwave H3. This sight has tritium and fiber optic on it, so whether you're outside or inside, you shouldn't have any issues picking up this sight. Again, when I did the review of this pistol, I mentioned how this was a tactical revolver, and I thought that it was kind of silly that they failed to include any sort of night sight because I have a Smith & Wesson Governor that comes stock with one. So they have markings on the package here. There are different sight heights and sizes. This one is the SWN 3001, and when we look on the back here, it actually tells us what the sight heights are. So this one is 0.250 inches, and I do believe, just from a basic eyeball comparison, that's the same size, but we'll hold them up against each other and kind of see if we are correct on that. Readjust the camera real quick, and then we'll look at how we take this sight off and how easy it is to replace. All right, so this firearm is unloaded. It has been cleared safe. So again, that roll pin there, if it was one that had to be punched out, it would be more centered. And looking here down the front of the muzzle of the gun, you can see there's a little hollowed out area. So that'll be kind of an indication if your pistol is this same variety. So essentially all we have to do is I have to grab a hold of the sight. I'm going to get a nice tight grip on it, and we're going to push it to the rear and then kind of rock it out. So we're going to grab a hold of it like this. I'm going to try and get as much contact area as I can on it because this spring is pretty tight. We're going to pull it to the rear, rock it up. We're going to pull it to the rear, and then we rock it upward and then let it come out like that. So you can see down in here, this is a spring-loaded kind of detent, and that roll pin, its only purpose, essentially, is as the sight sits in here like this, that spring-loaded detent is pushing this way, and that roll pin is simply catching right here. So that's basically sandwiching the bottom portion of that sight, and that's the only thing that's holding that in here. So let's go ahead and open the package on this sight and get the new one installed. All right, so comparing the new and the old sight, it would appear that the new sight is just a little bit taller, so chances are you should probably go with the SWN 3002. That is 0.208 inches. I don't know how much that's going to mess everything up. We'll have to find out when I take this thing back out to the range again. But let's go ahead and get the new sight installed in the reverse order of the way we just took the other one off. So that little spring detent in there, if you tilt the pistol, it will kind of drop down a little bit. So you need to make sure that that's in there. So kind of point the muzzle towards the sky for this step. Make sure your sight is oriented in the correct direction. Don't point the part you need to be looking at towards the muzzle. So make sure that's facing back towards you. And basically what we have to do is we have to kind of scoop that detent, push it back so that we can drop this down and allow it to push the sight forward. So we're going to get a hold of the front of that detent. We're going to push down and towards the rear of the gun. All right, so that is a tight fit. I did have to struggle with it a little bit, but again, just the same reverse motion that you take the sight off. So you're going to have to hook that spring detent on the back side of this, pull it to the rear. You're probably going to have to use two hands and stabilize the weapon, and then rock that front down, and then it'll go ahead and push forward, and again lock that notch up against the roll pin there. But this is what it looks like while it is installed. It does not stick out past the front of the gun any further than where the other one did. So if it is doing that, then make sure again that you do have it in the correct orientation. So you can kind of get a view of what the sight looks like on the pistol. I think that looks really nice. I'm kind of a Trijicon fanboy myself, and I was hoping that they had some sort of option for this, but unfortunately they don't, and I think this is going to work out just fine. It's got the white ring around the dot. We have the fiber optic and the tritium option, so definitely a fan of that. In the event that the tritium goes bad or leaks out or something happens to it, you do still have the fiber optic available, which is going to be super bright during the daytime. So hopefully you found this video useful. Again, thank you, Mr. Nick Zabo 2727 for the comment that helped out. It allowed me to put this information out for the rest of you. So again, for those of you out there that may be interested in doing something similar for yourself, make sure you're looking for an S&W DX Delta X-ray sight. And then here are the different model numbers that are available from this specific brand and style, so you can see what the sight heights are if you already know what yours are, or if you've got some replacement rears that maybe need to compensate for the higher or lower sight. Then keep that in mind. Some of you are a little bit more knowledgeable in the revolver world than I am. If there were questions about Glocks, I could probably answer them, but unfortunately, my knowledge is limited to just my own personal experience and things that I have picked up from other people. So just a quick video today. Hopefully you found something useful here in your sight replacement endeavors. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.